Hello YouTube, hope everyone's keeping well out there. Collection video today for the only handheld system that I have in my entire video game collection, and it's the Nintendo 3DS, as the title says. I'm not a huge handheld gamer. I prefer my gaming fix to be on a big screen, whether it's in my gaming room or in my lounge. Nice and comfortable on the couch, cranked up sound, nice big screen, beers, cups of tea, coffee, you know, whatever at hand. And that's how I like to get my gaming hit. But I did want one handheld system to take away with me if I was, you know, I think I got this primarily because I was going to America. I went to New York a good few years ago and picked up the 3DS again after picking it up when it first came out and then selling it again. And yeah, I decided to keep it then and then built a little collection around that. I personally got on really well with the 3D aspect of the system. It doesn't give me any headaches. I know it makes some people you know, get headaches and feel a bit motion sick or whatever, but for me it works fine. Got no issues with that. And on the first kind of 3DS system itself, the 3D was a little bit hit and miss with the eye tracking. So if you moved the screen a little bit, you would get this kind of like flickering effect, which could be a little bit disorientating. But I've got the new 3DS XL, which has got a little bit more power under the hood, and most importantly, it's got much better eye tracking. And it, yeah, you can tilt the screen and it still maintains that 3D aspect ratio as the screen's tilting, as it often does in frantic moments of gameplay. But this is my system. It's in lovely condition. I got this a few years ago, just prior to lockdown, I think, and it was a great price with one extra game, and all boxed, lovely and minty for, I think it was £90. And because this is the other reason I'm not a huge fan of handheld gaming, is because my hands cramp up sometimes. So I did get the XL version of the console, which helps, but I did get this peripheral. It's just a kind of a cheap piece of plastic really, but it does bulk it out quite nicely so it fits nicely into the hands there. But yeah, there it is, my beautiful 3DS. Love it. I remember watching it being announced on an E3 many moons ago. What was it, 2012? I can't remember. It was a good few years ago. And Reggie Fils Anime, or whatever he was called, came out with it and was saying about the 3, and I was really intrigued, like, how on earth is that going to work? But absolutely worked a charm. It's one of those things you need to get into your hand and into your face and have your eyes sort of immersed in the thing to really obviously appreciate the 3D. Similar to VR really, you need to experience it firsthand. It's no good, you know, hearing about it through someone else. But yeah, when I got it the first time, I really fell in love with it. I didn't keep the system. I went for a good few games at the time, games that I really wanted to play, and then I sold it on, and I think I upgraded to my PS4, helped pay for my PS4 or something like that. I can't remember. But what I'm going to do now is go through my games. I've got quite a few digital games on the actual system itself through the Nintendo eShop. I've got about 60 physical games here, so I'm going to go through these in alphabetical order, and starting with a game that might well be the last game for the actual 3DS console, and it's Andro Dunos 2, which is a follow-up to an old classic Neo Geo game. It's a shooter. There's not many shooters on the 3DS. I picked up 2 copies. One that I'm going to keep sealed, and one that I've opened. Now this was from Pixel Heart, the company. I'm not sure if there's any left available. I know this, I did read a few reviews, and I know a few people had issues with the way this was optimized. It wasn't, you know, the 3D isn't apparently all that great, and when I played it, I have to agree, the 3D isn't the best use of 3D for the system. I think they could have done a bit more with some effort. But the game, actually, I quite like it. Plays really well. I really like the music. But the one thing I don't like in it, you've got the kind of top screen, obviously, where the gameplay is taken off. But down below, you've got this kind of awful, I'll put a screenshot or a video clip up there, this awful kind of really low-res cockpit shot of your pilot, but it looks like a really like cheap illustration. It's really compressed and JPEGy and pixely, or like a GIF, I suppose, because it animates when you press certain buttons. And yeah, they could, you know, things like that was just a little bit sloppy that really let the presentation down. And if that looked nice and crisp, well, the ideas sound, but the execution was just really, really poor. But as a shooter, I really like that one. Adventure Time. This is supposed to be very Zelda-esque, so I do love me some Zelda. It's a bit like the classic Zeldas of old, where it's a sort of 2D, 2.5D elevated view down on the map. But yeah, that's supposed to be good, so I'm looking forward to that one. BlazBlue. There's quite a few fighters I've got actually. It's not supposed to be the best version of BlazBlue. The PS3 versions, PS4 and price, but are a bit better. But it is supposedly quite good. I haven't booted that one up yet. Bravely Default, RPG, turn-based, and with random generated battles, and that's the thing that sort of holds me back. But it looks absolutely stunning. The world that this has is just right up my street. I do love my RPGs, but I do just, yeah, it's just that random battle mechanic that I can't get my head around. But I'm gonna have to jump into this one. It's got incredible reviews, one of the best RPGs on the system. I've never played any of the Bravely Default games, so really keen to see what that one's like. And we got Bravely Second, I'm assuming a sequel to the Bravely Default game there. More of the same with it as an RPG. I don't think it got as good reviews as the previous one there. Captain Toad, I loved this on the Wii U. Such a good game. Went through and played that one and completed it. And yeah, had to get the 3DS version of it. Really turned out really well. Lovely 3D puzzler with that Nintendo charm. Really looking forward to getting stuck into this one. I did boot it up to just have a quick go on it, but I never carried on with it. It's Castlevania Mirror of Fate. And again, like an isometric 3D aspect to this one. It's not supposed to be amazing, but you know, like a good sort of 7.5 out of 10. And yeah, I love my Castlevanias, all the ones I've played anyway. This one looks really derpy. The cover's dreadful, but apparently the game is very, very good. Another 3D puzzler by Sega. Was it Crushed or Crush 3D? With another dimension, but yeah, the cover looks really sort of lame. Terrible sort of character design there. But the game's supposed to be really, 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 really good. Nice, intelligent kind of 3D platformer, very unique. Or sorry, 3D puzzle game. Another fighter. Dead or Alive, Dimensions. This plays really well. I love the Dead or Alive games. Great physics, great sort of, and the mechanic with this is where obviously in a 3D arena and you can fight your opponent on numerous planes, kick them through walls or off ledges to carry on the fight from further below. So yeah, really good game. I haven't booted this one up. Donkey Kong. I've only played and completed Tropical Freeze on the Wii U, and yeah, it did frustrate me, but I did get there in the end. But I've never collected all like the Kong pieces, the Kong coin pieces, or anything like that. I haven't played the one on the Wii, and I believe this is based on the Wii version, but just given the 3D treatment. Rare obviously did that one, didn't they? Was it Retro Studios? No, it was Retro Studios, wasn't it? For that one. Whether or not they've done this one, I'm not sure. But yeah, some of the Donkey Kong games, those old ones on the Super Nintendo, man, difficult platformers. Next one, Epic Mickey. Nice sort of 3D platformer, adventure game. And a few of them, there was one or two that come out for the Wii and other systems in that generation as well. But this is supposed to be quite good. Now this is a good game, and it looks like it's been damaged, which is very, very annoying. Ever Oasis. Now, this is by the company that helped work with Nintendo to bring Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask to the 3DS. So they understand their RPG, action adventure games. And this is their own sort of unique title. And it's really, really good. I played through this one to completion. Basically, you're this chap who you get this oasis, you go to this barren land, and the idea is you've got to build a community, a town, and you go out and recruit people to your town, and the more the town grows, the more popular it gets, and people come in that offer different skill sets and sell different things. You look after your shops, you go out, you find materials and minerals to then bring back to give to the shops, which then means their stock in each shop increases, etc. And you go out to dungeons. Yeah, it's really, really good. And some of the puzzles in the dungeon are really, really good. Plays really nice and cutesy, and it does have a nice sort of Zelda-ish flavour, but at the same time it does have its own unique feel. Now, I do like my football games, and I've got FIFA 14 and 15. Yeah, just have to have a little football game for on the go, and they're well reviewed and play well. Now this one, Fire Emblem Awakening, I played through this one to completion and really enjoyed it, really got stuck into it. It's my first Fire Emblem game I've ever played, and I haven't really played many strategy RPGs, but yeah, I really fell in love with this one. And with this, it was, I did a little bit of research before. I didn't want too many spoilers with, any story or anything, but it was recommended that you switch on or you keep permadeath. So if your character actually dies in battle, that's it, he's gone. No matter how much you build him up with your his stats and his RPG and experience, how much it goes up. If he dies, he dies. To use a quote from Drago from Rocky 4. But yeah, really fell in love with this. And when one of your characters does cop it, man, yeah, it gets you, especially when you spent blimmin' ages building the guy up. But yeah, really good strategy RPG this. Interesting story, and it's made me keen to play some of the other Fire Emblems and other strategy RPGs now. Fire Emblem Fates. This is supposed to be the bee's knees, this one. This one not so much. Wow, good, but not as good. Fire Emblem Echoes. I picked quite a few up. Dungeon Crawler now, in the same sort of vein as, say, Diablo or Baldur's Gate, Dark Alliance, those sort of 3D dungeon crawler games. It's Heroes of Ruin. I did boot this up to have a little cheeky look at this when I first picked it up, and yeah, it looks really good. Now this one got a lot of people sing this one's praises. I'm gonna have to go back to it. When I picked it up and had a go, I couldn't really quite get into it. But it's Kirby Planet Robobot. I think it's got a good few games and game modes in this, and it's gives you a lot of game for your buck. But yeah, gonna have to go back to that. I don't mind Kirby games. Kirby Triple Deluxe. Oh, and this is one of the best games on the system, hands down. Anyone who's watched my channel knows that one of my favourite games of all time is A Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past for the Super Nintendo, and this is kind of a spiritual successor to that. It uses the same kind of perspective, same map even, and layout, so it's great going back to it, and there's a lot of nostalgia attached to the game with this. But the mechanic in this is that you can turn into like a 2D version of yourself, and then you'll move along the 3D walls. And Nintendo have been very clever with some of the puzzles in this, and yeah, really good game. Absolutely love it. And in this, they try to do something different where you don't have to do dungeons in a set kind of order. The idea is that you can go and choose your own path. So they try to mix it up a little bit to break away with a kind of arguably stale formula that is the Zelda formula. But yeah, brilliant game, loads of charm, loved it. And yeah, A Link Between Worlds. Brilliant. Well, I know this one's a bit Marmite, but a lot of people see this as the definitive way to play the game, and it's Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask 3D. I played this on my GameCube, on the Zelda GameCube collection, and I know it's a bit Marmite, and I see why it is. You know, it doesn't really follow the same sort of formula and tropes as other Zelda games. It's much darker in tone, which I liked. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really, really good. And yeah, apparently this is the definitive way to play it. It's been spruced up with the textures, graphics, and some quality of life changes maybe to the controls and the menu systems. Now that you've got the touchpad, for example. Yeah, I will get around to playing that Zelda game again. And another Zelda game, classic game. Played through on the N64, and yeah, this plays really, really well on the 3DS. Much better textures, graphics polished up. But they changed the water temple as well, and again, your item management and things is just much more quick and easy to do with the dual screen and the touch screen. So yeah, this is a fantastic version of a truly classic game. Zelda Triforce Heroes. I think a couple of years ago, or yeah, it was probably a couple of years ago now, Argos had a massive kind of clear out sale of games, and there's a few in here that I've got, and this is one of them that I got for only a few pounds, so probably won't open that one. Luigi's Mansion. Played this not that long ago since becoming a collector, and I never played Luigi's Mansion when I owned my GameCube back in the day, but yeah, really liked it. And this is apparently a good version of it. Yeah, played this one. I didn't like it as much as the first one. This one seemed a little bit broken up. I can't remember what it was. When I owned the 3DS the first time, I had this one and played it. Really looking forward to playing it. Got great reviews. But it just seemed to be too broken up, where you'd go and do a mission and then you go back and speak to the professor, and it just sort of slowed things down, and then you would go out to do another mission. Whereas in this, you would just go from mission to mission, if you see what I mean. There wasn't any breaks. It just seemed a little bit more episodic almost in this one, and I think it sort of slowed it down and just made it a bit more clunky. But yeah, I might go back and play that one. I do like my Mario sports games. Mario Golf. I do like golf games. This one's a little bit sun faded. Might have to upgrade this one at one point. Mario Kart 7. Fantastic Mario Kart. I think, well, there's never really been a true dud of Mario Kart, I don't think, in my opinion anyway. And the handheld versions of the game have always been great. And that is no exception. The 3D in it is beautiful. Oh, I'm interested in playing these as well. Mario and Luigi. Sorry, what's that? Bowser Jr.'s Journey. I think it's like an adventure but RPG light aspect to it. Mario and Luigi Dream Team. And Mario Tennis. Yeah, I love my tennis games as well. Right, over halfway through now. Metroid Samus Returns. Really, really got on with this. I do like my classic Metroid games. Love Super Metroid. Do like the Prime games as well. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. 100% completed it. Got all the little fuel tanks and all the upgrades. Really, really good. Loads of atmosphere. I love those games that are just sort of like, I don't know, lonely sort of games. You know, you sort of going through these darkened tunnels and exploring. I just love this kind of exploration and adventure aspect of these games. I know some people critique the kind of, you've got this move that you have to do when an enemy comes in. You've got to press like a button to sort of stun it, and then you can shoot it. I understand a little bit, but it didn't really bother me too much. They sort of added that for some reason. I'm not sure if they really needed to, but it didn't hinder the game too much for me. I want to play this game, but I know they're absolute life suckers. You know, you can put like a good couple 100 hours into this easily, and that's Monster Hunter Ultimate 4. There's number 3 as well, but this is supposed to be the better game. for the system. Played and finished this one, Super Mario Brothers 2. Yeah, very good. Similar to the games that were coming out for the Wii, the 2D versions of Mario on the Wii. Paper Mario Sticker Star. I still haven't played any, well, I've started to play Paper Mario games, but yeah, I need to go through these, but I want to start with on the N64 and play that one first. Pilotwings Resort. Seen as a bit of a tech demo for the system, not really a fully fleshed out game by all accounts, but I've played it and I love it. I really like it. It's good to pick up and play. It really shows off the 3D. It's got a lovely charm, and I've always liked the Pilotwing games from the SNES version and on the N64. And yeah, I really like this. Right, where am I going to put this one? Put this over here. Right, a couple more games coming up now that I got from Argos, and they're sealed, and they're probably going to stay sealed. Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Sun. I think I would have loved Pokemon if I discovered it, you know, when I was a young kid. I would have really got into that kind of universe. I haven't really played any Pokemon games, so yeah, I suppose if I find one that's open, I wouldn't mind maybe giving it a blast. Professor Layton and the Miracle Mask. This is supposed to be the best Professor Layton on the system. My wife is a huge fan of these games, so I picked this up for her as well. But I like the look of this, so I'll play it as well. Rayman 3D. Played and finished this. Really good. Very cheap game. Resident Evil Mercenaries. It's not like a true fleshed out game, story driven game. It's more of like a series of challenges, I think, that you can unlock characters and upgrades and weapons, and you know, you take on like go on missions taking on hordes of zombies and things like that, and you've got time limits and increased difficulties and things like that. And I haven't really played it that much. This I have, and it's excellent. I played this when I first had my 3DS the first time it came out, and I loved it. Playing it in the dark in bed, headphones on, Resident Evil Revelations. Brilliant game. And this come out around the time after 4, after 5, maybe even after 6, and you know, by that time I felt they were losing their ways. A lot of people did. They were becoming less and less like Resident Evil, but this brought back that sense of isolation and yeah, dread, because you're basically on a big cruise. Is it a cruise ship or some sort of ship? And you know, you've got the tight corridors, the doors, the rooms, the eerie nature of the environment, and yeah, so it's a return to form for me. Really good game. This is supposed to be excellent, or very good. Ridge Racer 3D. I don't have many racing games. I've got obviously Mario Kart, so wanted to check out some other racing games. I'm not a huge racing fan, but that's nice and arcadey, and it sounds right up my street. This is great. Sega 3D Classics Collection. I think there's a second one that only came out in Japan, and that's worth a few pennies, and I'd love that one. But on here you've got Altered Beast, Sonic the Hedgehog, Puyo Puyo, which me and the wife love, Power Drift, that plays and looks stunning in 3D, Fantasy Zone 2, Thunderblade, and Galaxy Force 2, which plays really well. But yeah, the 3D treatment on these games is beautiful. Shinobi. Different sort of visual art style to this one. It's got like a cel shaded sort of graphic art look to it. It's supposed to be quite difficult, sort of your 7.5 out of 10 sort of game. Really keen to give it a go. I did boot it up and play through the first level, and yeah, it felt really good. And I like the 3D aspect in this one as well. Yeah, I do like these games. Not quite as good as Mario Kart, but there you are. Sonic All-Stars Racing Transformed. Great tracks. Great vehicles, lots of classic Sega characters. Star Fox 64 3D. This is really good, going back to playing this. Again, when the 3DS first came out and I got the console, I had to get this, and yeah, trip down memory lane. This, it was really, really good, but obviously enhanced. A with a 3D, and B just with like textures and just some extra graphical polish. This is an excellent fighting game, Street Fighter 4. The 3D looks really, really stunning on this. Do you like me my fighting games? Super Mario 3D Land, one of the best games on the system, hands down. Just an absolute delight to play. You could do on this, you can change the 3D to go in back, almost like a deboss and an embossing of the 3D, if that makes any sense. And depending on some of the levels, you switch between different options, and it helps. It really does help you get through the level. And the 3D on this is just this. You know, this game was made for the system, and real showcase for the 3D game design. Nintendo always knock it out of the park with these sort of games. But yeah, this is one of the best Marios. It's fantastic. Need to give this one more time. Super Smash Bros. 3D. Great to have a Smash game on the go. This one looked good. I did get this one at Argos, but I've opened it because I think me and the wife will like this one. It's a puzzle game. Sushi Striker. And we love sushi. There you go. Tales games. I haven't played any of them yet, and I've got loads of them. So, yeah, Tales of the Abyss. This is supposed to be very, very good. Japanese RPG. Oh man, this is great. It doesn't... Tekken 3D. It doesn't have any sort of story modes or anything like that, but the fighting in this, it's just great to have Tekken on a handheld. It plays really, really well. Tons of characters, classic and all the way through the series. Yeah, some good music in there as well. But yeah, I love Tekken. Tekken of old, anyway. Right, coming to the end now. The physical games. Tetris, another puzzler. Exactly what the handheld's made for. You know, very pick up and play. WarioWare Gold, supposed to be quite good. Got that one for a good price. This is supposed to be good. Ghost Recon Shadow Wars. Sort of a tactical action shooter game. And lastly, Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. I haven't played any Xenoblade games. And I've got the one on the Wii, the one on the Wii U, and this one. I know the ones on the Switch are supposed to be really good. But again, they're just massive games, aren't they? But I really do want to check these games out. And I think it was Eddie Rollercore that mentioned that this one is really good on the system. He really got to grips with it on the 3DS as opposed to on the console. So, don't know, we'll see which one I play first. There's a few more games I'm after, but I don't think the list is all that extensive. There's a few RPGs I'd like, but my god, they're getting quite pricey. Stellar Glow looks good. I wouldn't mind maybe the odd Shin Megami Tensei, but I haven't played them, and I'm not sure if I would really click with them, so I don't think I'm really missing out on those. I wouldn't mind Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater on the system. I had the chance to pick it up for a reasonable price. It's over doubled now. I think the 3DS library is increasing in price now that Nintendo have discontinued support for it. So the prices will be going up. What's the other one I wouldn't mind? Oh, the Batman game looks really good. Batman Arkham Blackgate? I can't remember what it's called. But the Batman game looks really, really good. And there might be a couple of others, but I'm very happy with my collection. I've got a lot of bases covered, and if I go away now on any sort of plane journeys or train journeys, or if I go camping or whatever, and then at night I can boot this thing up. I've got obviously the system there, and every game here thankfully fits into this case, so it doesn't really take up too much space. So there you are, peeps. There's the collection. Let me know in the comments below if there's any games that are kind of off the radar that you guys recommend that I might not have here. I'll be keen to check them out. And until next time, next video, everyone take care out there, stay safe, and I'll see you again.